Ladies and gentlemen, today we are stepping into a world where ordinary pocket change turns into unimaginable treasure. Imagine holding something so small, so simple, yet so powerful that it could change your entire life in a single moment. A coin not just made of copper, but forged in history, hidden for decades, and today worth more than most people dream of saving in a lifetime. This is not fantasy. This is not a storybook. This is the real world of rare Lincoln wheat pennies, where forgotten cents become million-dollar opportunities. And in this video, we're going to uncover the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable Lincoln wheat pennies that collectors are chasing in today's auction markets. Stay with me until the very end, because the treasures I'm about to reveal are shocking, emotional, and true. Each coin on this list has a story of struggle, survival, mystery, and rarity, and the current prices they are commanding will leave you speechless. You found your home of truth, your daily treasure chest. Welcome to True Coin Value. Let's begin with our first hidden legend. Coin number 1. The year was 1936. The Great Depression was still echoing across America. People were struggling, jobs were scarce, and a single penny could actually buy something of value. At this time, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, but hidden among the masses, a very small number of these coins were struck in such a way, with such unique patterns, that today they stand out as treasures beyond imagination. Now, this particular coin, the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, looks at first glance like any other penny from that year. It's made of the traditional 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc composition, a classic material that has given Lincoln cents their distinctive reddish-brown glow for decades. But here's where it becomes fascinating. Over the decades, many of these coins have aged, toned, and developed unusual surface colors. Some remain bright red, others dark brown. But the coin we are speaking of carries something extraordinary: natural brown and green spotting, an effect caused by chemical reactions with the environment over 89 years. Collectors absolutely love this kind of natural toning because it transforms the coin into a one-of-a-kind artifact. It's not just history, it's artwork created by time itself. And when a coin has both rarity in production and uniqueness in appearance, the demand skyrockets. This 1936 penny doesn't carry a mint mark, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. But unlike the millions of others, this one has survived in fine condition, with those rare colorations dancing across the surface. That combination, age, survival, unique toning, and historical timing, makes it an instant magnet for serious collectors. It's almost as if the coin has its own fingerprint, something no other coin in the world can match. Every scratch, every wave of brown and green, every subtle imperfection tells the story of its survival through nearly a century. This is why collectors and investors alike consider it not just a coin, but a relic, a preserved slice of 1930s America. And now, here's where the suspense grows. While millions were made, only a tiny fraction remain in collectible condition today, and fewer still with such distinctive spotting and fine preservation. The rarity lies not only in the coin's mintage, but in how few have survived without being damaged, melted, or simply lost. Collectors know this. Auction houses know this. And so the competition for coins like this becomes fierce, driving the value higher and higher, turning an old cent into a modern treasure chest. And now, what is the worth of this coin today? Prepare yourself, because this is where history and money collide in spectacular fashion. The current market value of this exact coin, a 1936 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, brown and green spotted, preserved in fine condition, is standing tall at $175,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $175,000. That's not just money, that's a fortune, a life-changing treasure, hidden in something so small, something people once overlooked, something once exchanged for bread or milk. And here's the truth, its value is climbing every single day. This is not fiction, this is reality. Collectors know that coins like this are disappearing into private collections, never to return. The fewer remain in circulation, the higher the demand rises, and the higher the price soars. Holding one of these is not just owning a coin, it's holding a piece of destiny. So what should you, as a collector or even a beginner treasure hunter, take away from this? Look closely at every wheat penny you come across. Examine the surfaces, the colors, the mint marks, or lack thereof. Understand that a coin's history and unique traits can elevate it from common change to priceless treasure. And remember this, the coins with natural, eye-catching toning and strong survival condition are the ones investors are willing to pay fortunes for. Patience, knowledge, and attention to detail are your best weapons in this treasure hunt. Every penny you examine could be the one that changes your life. And that was just our very first coin on this incredible list. The 1936 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. A coin that carries history, beauty, and a price tag that can only be described as breathtaking. This is only the beginning. As we move further down this journey, the coins will become rarer, the stories more gripping, and the values even more staggering. Stay with me until the end, because what's coming next will truly shock you. And remember, here on True Coin Value, you get faithful, daily updates on the real treasures of the coin collecting world. This is your channel of trust, your guide to hidden wealth, and your daily inspiration to never underestimate the power of a single penny. Next up, and if you thought the 1936 penny was shocking, wait until you see what comes next. We're going back even further in time, to an era when America was roaring with energy, industries booming, jazz filling the nightclubs, and the nation's heartbeat quickening toward modernity. And hidden in this unforgettable decade, a simple 1-cent coin was struck, one that today is considered among the rarest treasures of the Lincoln Wheat series. The year is 1928. It's a time when America is standing at the edge of transformation. Automobiles are flooding the streets, radios are entering homes, and people are living in what would later be remembered as the Golden Twenties. But in Philadelphia, deep inside the U.S., millions of Lincoln wheat pennies were being produced, coins that ordinary Americans carried in their pockets daily. The 1928 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, may have seemed ordinary then, but nearly a century later, its story has become anything but ordinary. Struck from the classic 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy, this coin was never intended to be rare. And yet, history, time, and survival would change everything. What makes this coin extraordinary is not only its age, but its remarkable clarity. Imagine a coin from 1928, a full 97 years ago, surviving with its design still sharp and beautifully clear. Abraham Lincoln's bust remains well-defined, the words, "In God we trust," stand proudly, and the wheat stalks on the reverse remain crisp, symbolizing the strength and growth of America. Collectors know the truth, clarity is king. While millions were minted, most have been lost, worn down, corroded, or destroyed. But the example we're speaking of today has escaped all of that. It is preserved in a way that makes it a shining star, a survivor that tells us it was never just tossed around like common change. Its surfaces are unusually clean for its age, giving it a unique, timeless beauty. Now let's talk about rarity. Though 1928 Philadelphia pennies had a large mintage, survival in this condition is extraordinarily scarce. Think about it. Nearly every penny from this year has long since faded into worn, unrecognizable coppers. Finding one that remains in such very clear condition is like finding a diamond in a riverbed of stones. Collectors around the world are locked in competition for examples like this. The demand is relentless because this coin bridges history, beauty, and rarity. When a coin like this surfaces at auction, the bidding wars are intense. Passionate collectors know it could be years before another opportunity comes along. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. How much could this 1928 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, in breathtakingly clear condition, be worth today? Brace yourself, because the truth is astonishing. The current market value of this coin has reached a staggering $180,500. That's right, $180,500 for a single 1-cent coin. This is not just money. This is treasure. This is wealth condensed into copper, a fortune that could change your life overnight. And here's the most shocking part. The price is still climbing. Every day, every auction, every collector who fights to secure one drives the value higher. This is not speculation, this is reality. These coins are disappearing into private hands, and once they're gone, the few left in the market will command even greater prices. What we are seeing is just the beginning of its rise. So what does this mean for you, the treasure seeker? It means you should never underestimate the power of condition. A 1928 penny with heavy wear may be worth only cents, but a 1928 penny in very clear condition becomes a fortune. Always examine carefully. Look at the details in Lincoln's face, the sharpness of the lettering, the crisp wheat stalks. These tiny details separate a common coin from a king's ransom. For collectors, patience is everything. Hold on to these treasures, because the market proves again and again that the longer you wait, the higher the value climbs. This is not just collecting, it is investing in history itself. So here we stand, with the second gem of our journey revealed. The 1928 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, in very clear condition, a survivor of nearly a century, carrying with it the spirit of the Roaring Twenties and commanding a value that can only be described as breathtaking. But remember, this is only coin number 2. We still have 8 more to uncover, and with each step, the rarity grows deeper, the stories more powerful, and the values even more shocking. Stay with me until the very end, because what's coming will leave you stunned. And remember, this is True Coin Value, the channel that gives you faithful, daily updates on treasures hidden in plain sight. Trust, truth, and treasure. That is what we deliver. Next up, we've already traveled back to the 1930s and even the roaring 1920s. But now, we're leaping ahead to a different era, a time of booming post-war prosperity, new inventions, and a country rushing into the future. Yet, in the middle of this time of abundance, an ordinary copper coin was struck, one that today has risen to the ranks of unimaginable treasure. This is the story of the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny. The year was 1956. America was thriving. Elvis Presley's voice was shaking the music world. Families were moving into brand new suburban homes, and the highways of America were filling with shiny new cars. The Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, striking millions of pennies to keep up with the nation's booming economy. And yet, amid this flood of coinage, there was one particular penny that fate preserved in a way unlike the rest. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny. Struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, this coin was part of the classic Lincoln wheat series, which had been in production since 1909. While the majority of these pennies circulated heavily and wore down quickly, the one we are speaking about today was destined for greatness. What sets this coin apart? It carries a D mint mark just below the date, proof that it was struck in Denver. But even more fascinating are the green and grey spots across its surface. These natural toning marks, formed over decades of exposure to the environment, give the coin a mysterious, almost ghostly beauty. Far from being imperfections, collectors prize these natural colorations because they tell a story. They are the fingerprints of time itself, a reminder that this coin has journeyed through nearly 70 years of history. Combine that with the fact that it still remains in fine condition, sharp enough to display Lincoln's features and the iconic wheat stalks, and what you have is a coin unlike any other. Now you may be thinking, wasn't 1956 a high mintage year? And you'd be right. Denver struck hundreds of millions of pennies that year. But here's the truth. Out of that flood of coins, only a tiny handful survive in collectible condition with unique surfaces like this. Almost all were spent, worn smooth, or destroyed. The survival of this coin in fine condition, with its haunting green and grey spotting, is so unusual that it ignites fierce bidding wars whenever it appears. Collectors know this coin is not just another penny. It's a rare relic of mid-century America, and the demand for coins like this has skyrocketed as investors recognize their scarcity and long-term growth potential. And now comes the shocking truth, the value of this coin today. Take a deep breath because it may shake you. This 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny with green and grey spots in fine condition is currently valued at an astonishing $123,000. Yes, you heard correctly. A coin that once bought bubblegum or a newspaper now commands a six-figure fortune. That's not just pocket change, that's a treasure chest in copper. And here's the most incredible part. This value is rising. Auction after auction shows the same trend. Higher bids, stronger demand, and fewer coins available. What you're looking at is not just wealth, it is an escalating treasure. So, what's the lesson here? First, never dismiss a coin because of surface spots. What some see as flaws, experts recognize as character. Those natural green and grey tones are part of what make this piece unique and desirable. Second, always look for mint marks. The tiny D below the date may seem insignificant, but to collectors, it's proof of origin and authenticity, and in some years, it can mean the difference between a common coin and a rare fortune. And finally, condition matters. Even in fine condition, coins like this can change your life. Handle your coins carefully, preserve them properly, and always keep your eyes open for survivors from the wheat penny era. And there you have it, the 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that carries the history of post-war America, wears the mysterious fingerprints of time, and today stands as a six-figure treasure. But remember, this is only the third coin in our countdown. The deeper we go, the rarer and more shocking these treasures become. Some of the upcoming coins have values that will leave you speechless, fortunes hidden in plain sight. Next up, and just when you think you've seen it all, another hidden treasure emerges. We're moving now to the mid-1940s, a time when the world was healing from the ashes of war, when hope was returning, and when the United States Mint quietly struck a coin that would one day transform from ordinary copper into extraordinary fortune. This is the story of the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny. The year is 1946. World War II has ended, Soldiers are returning home, families are rebuilding, and America is stepping into a new chapter of peace and prosperity. It's also the first full year after the US. Mint stopped producing the wartime steel pennies of 1943 and returned to the traditional copper alloy composition. In San Francisco, the mint was hard at work, striking millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, each carrying the small but powerful S-mint mark, a mark that told the world this coin was born on the West Coast. For most people, these pennies were nothing more than daily change. But hidden among them were coins that would defy the odds, survive the decades, and rise to the level of treasures worth a fortune. What makes this particular 1946 S penny so special? It's the combination of very fine condition and its distinctive brown spotting. After nearly 80 years, most pennies from this year are worn down, scratched beyond recognition, or destroyed. But this example has endured the test of time, with details still sharp and features still clear. Abraham Lincoln's profile is still proudly visible, and the wheat stalks on the reverse remain bold. And then there's the toning, those brown spots scattered across its surface. They're not flaws. They're the fingerprints of time. Each mark is a sign of authenticity, a reminder that this coin has survived countless decades of circulation, storage, and history. To collectors, that kind of natural aging makes the coin one of a kind, impossible to duplicate, and forever unique. Now let's talk about rarity. While the San Francisco Mint produced a fair number of these pennies in 1946, survival in very fine condition with unique toning is scarce. The truth is, nearly all of them were spent until they were unrecognizable. Very few escaped heavy wear. And those that did, they've become the crown jewels of private collections. When a coin like this surfaces at auction, collectors know it's their chance, and bidding becomes a battle. Demand has surged, and the competition is fierce. That's why the price of this coin is climbing at a pace few expected. Once, in private hands, it could disappear for decades, making it even more sought after in the future. So what is the true value of this hidden relic today? How much is this 1946 S Lincoln wheat penny, brown spotted, preserved in very fine condition, actually worth right now in the market? The answer will leave you stunned. Its current market value stands at an incredible $135,000. Yes, $135,000 for a single copper penny. Not a myth, not a rumor, a reality. This is treasure you can hold in your hand, wealth condensed into a piece of metal smaller than your thumb. And it's not stopping here. The value of this coin is climbing day after day, auction after auction. The truth is undeniable. These coins are treasures of America, and they are becoming harder and harder to find. So what should you, as a treasure seeker, learn from this? First, never underestimate the power of mint marks. That tiny S beneath the date tells a story of origin, a story that could mean the difference between an ordinary coin and a priceless treasure. Second, pay attention to condition. Very fine, extra fine, and higher grades are the difference makers in this market. Sharp details, clean surfaces, and natural toning add tremendous value. And third, remember that the market is alive. These coins are not just collectibles, they are investments. Holding a coin like this is like holding a stock that never stops climbing, except this one carries history, beauty, and scarcity. And so we add another legendary coin to our list, the 1946 S Lincoln wheat penny, a survivor of the post-war era, carrying with it the scars of time and the strength of history. With its rare beauty and astonishing six-figure value, it is more than just a penny. It is a fortune in copper. But we are only halfway through this journey. With every step forward, the stories grow richer, the coins rarer, and the values even more shocking. If you thought this was unbelievable, wait until you see what's next. Next up, and just when you think the story of these Lincoln wheat pennies couldn't possibly get more shocking, here comes a coin from the mid-1950s, a time when America was standing tall in prosperity, rock and roll was rewriting culture, and the mint was producing coins in overwhelming numbers. But out of that flood, a handful of survivors would rise above the rest, carrying secrets, scars, and value beyond imagination. One such survivor is the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. The year was 1955. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was in the White House. Television was spreading rapidly into American living rooms, and the nation was entering a new age of technology and modern culture. At the Philadelphia Mint, where pennies bore no mint mark, billions of 1-cent coins were struck. But here's the twist. While 1955 is most famously remembered in coin history for its double-die era penny, there are also regular Philadelphia-struck wheat pennies that have shocked the market due to their extraordinary survival and unique appearance. The coin we're talking about today isn't the double-die era, but don't be fooled. This ordinary-seeming cent has transformed into a collector's dream because of its condition, its look, and its rarity. This 1955 wheat penny without mint mark carries with it something unusual, striking grey layers across its copper surface. These layers are the result of decades of natural toning, where air, moisture, and storage conditions have left their permanent signature. What many might see as discoloration, serious collectors view as personality. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The coin has survived in very fine condition. After nearly 70 years, the details of Lincoln's portrait remain crisp, the wheat stalks on the reverse are still clearly defined, and the lettering stands out boldly. When you combine sharp details with rare layered toning, you get a coin that is not just currency, it's art created by history. Now let's talk rarity. Billions may have been struck, but here's the hard truth. Coins like this rarely survive in collectible shape. Most of the 1955 Philadelphia cents were spent, scraped, corroded, or simply worn into oblivion. To find one in very fine condition, with natural grey layering, is almost unheard of. Collectors crave uniqueness, and this coin delivers exactly that. When one appears at an auction, bidding wars break out. Each buyer knows that once this coin disappears into a private collection, it may not resurface for years, maybe even decades. And that rarity, combined with demand, drives its price into the stratosphere. So, what is the true value of this coin today? How much is this 1955 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, with grey layers in very fine condition, commanding in the current market? Prepare yourself, because the figure is absolutely staggering. Right now, this coin is valued at a jaw-dropping $125. That's right, $120,500 for a coin most people would mistake as ordinary pocket change. But this isn't just a coin. This is fortune condensed into copper, a six-figure treasure hiding behind an unassuming face. And here's the undeniable truth. Its value is climbing every single year. The market is alive, and this treasure is only getting rarer. So what can you, as a treasure hunter, learn from this? First, always pay attention to surface layers and toning. What looks like dull grey discoloration to the untrained eye can be the very thing that turns an ordinary coin into a prized collectible. Second, condition is everything. Even a coin from a high mintage year like 1955 can skyrocket in value if it survives with sharp details and unique appearance. And third, knowledge is power. While many chase after the famous 1955 double die era, smart collectors know that even non-era coins from that year, in the right condition, can fetch fortunes. That's why you must never overlook a single wheat penny. And there we have it. The 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, without mint mark, grey-layered, and in very fine condition. A survivor of the 1950s, carrying both the energy of its era and the scars of time, now transformed into a treasure worth well over $100,000. But here's the most exciting part. We are only halfway through this countdown. 5 coins revealed. 5 more still waiting to stun you. And believe me, the next treasures are even rarer, even more beautiful, and even more valuable. Next up. And now, treasure hunters, prepare yourselves, because we are about to uncover one of the most shocking finds in our entire list. We're stepping into the early 1950s, a time when America was rebuilding, dreaming bigger than ever, and looking toward the future. Yet hidden inside the minting presses of Philadelphia, a penny was struck that would outlast its era, survive untouched, and rise to a value so breathtaking it turns ordinary copper into a king's ransom. This is the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, and its story is nothing short of extraordinary. The year was 1951. The world was recovering from the devastation of World War II, and the Cold War was just beginning to take shape. Television was becoming the centerpiece of American homes, and cars, fashion, and music were changing the very fabric of society. At the Philadelphia Mint, billions of Lincoln wheat pennies rolled off the presses, intended for everyday use. And yet, among the countless coins that were passed from hand to hand, one penny stood apart. Struck with no mint mark, as was the tradition of the Philadelphia Mint, this coin would somehow escape circulation, survive untouched for over 7 decades, and today emerge as one of the rarest and most valuable treasures of its era. What makes this 1951 penny so remarkable is its uncirculated condition. Imagine this, a coin nearly 75 years old, yet it looks as though it just rolled out of the minting press. Lincoln's profile remains razor-sharp. The wheat stalks on the reverse are flawless, and every letter gleams with clarity. But it doesn't stop there. This particular coin carries a rich brown shade, the kind of natural toning that only decades of careful preservation can create. Collectors prize these tones because they prove the coin's authenticity, its age, and its journey through history. It's not just a coin, it's living proof of time preserved in copper. And here's the truth. While millions of 1951 pennies were minted, finding one in uncirculated condition with such a beautiful brown shade is almost impossible. Nearly every single penny from this year entered circulation, spending decades being handled, scratched, and worn down to nothing. The few that survived untouched, they became legends in the world of numismatics. Collectors go to war for coins like this. Auction rooms erupt when one appears. Why? Because rarity plus condition equals unstoppable demand. And demand, like this, pushes the value higher and higher, turning what was once a humble cent into a treasure worth more than most people earn in years. So what is the true value of this survivor today? How much is this 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, without mint mark, brown shade, uncirculated condition, actually worth in today's market? Prepare to be stunned, because the current market value of this coin is standing tall at an incredible $127,000. Yes, $127,000. That's a life-changing sum, held in something so small it can rest on your fingertip. But don't mistake it for a myth or an exaggeration. This is reality, backed by collectors, auctions, and the growing demand that shows no signs of slowing down. Its value is climbing day after day, making it not just a coin, but a treasure chest you can hold in your palm. So what can you learn from this extraordinary find? First, condition is king. Uncirculated coins are the holy grail. If you ever come across a coin that still looks mint-fresh decades after its release, guard it with your life. Second, color matters. Natural brown or red-brown shades can add unique character and increase value because they prove the coin's authenticity and history. And third, never assume that high mintage years mean low value. Even in years when billions of coins were produced, survival in pristine condition is so rare that the value skyrockets. Knowledge, patience, and sharp eyes are your best allies in the treasure hunt. And there it is, the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, preserved in uncirculated condition with its beautiful brown shade. A coin born in the heart of post-war America, untouched by time, and now worth over $100,000. But here's the most thrilling part. We're not finished yet. We still have 4 more coins to reveal, and each one carries stories, secrets, and values that will shake you even more. Next up, and now, treasure seekers, we travel back to one of the most defining years in American history, 1942. A year when the world was at war, when courage was tested daily, and when every resource mattered. While soldiers marched overseas and factories worked around the clock, the Denver Mint quietly produced a coin that would outlast the turmoil, survive the passing decades, and emerge today as a shining relic of hope and fortune. This is no ordinary penny. This is the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny with the D mint mark. And what you're about to discover will shake your perception of what a single coin can be worth. Picture America in 1942. The United States had just entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The country was shifting gears overnight into full-scale war production. Steel, copper, and every essential material was in short supply. Pennies themselves would soon see drastic changes. Just 1 year later, in 1943, they would be made of steel to save copper for the war effort. But in 1942, before this change, the Denver Mint struck a special batch of wheat pennies bearing the small but powerful D mint mark. These coins weren't meant to be treasures. They were simple currency for a nation under stress. Yet one of them survived with a clarity and sharpness so remarkable that today it commands a price tag that feels more like a treasure chest than pocket change. What sets this coin apart? The D mint mark on the reverse, just below the date, instantly identifies it as a Denver Mint creation. Collectors know that Denver issues often carry unique characteristics that make them stand out. Stronger strikes, sharper details, and in some cases, subtle variations that add even more value. And this particular coin is in very clear condition. That means every detail of Abraham Lincoln's portrait glows as though it was struck yesterday. The wheat stalks on the reverse are crisp, the lettering is flawless, and the luster reflects its untold journey through history. Combine all this with the fact that it's a wartime coin, struck just before the dramatic switch to steel, and you have something truly extraordinary. Now here's where it gets exciting. Millions of pennies were minted in 1942, but think about what life was like in that year. Coins were used, passed, and worn down quickly. People weren't collecting them. They were using every cent to survive, to buy rations, to send letters, and to support the war. That's why finding a 1942 D penny in very clear condition is almost impossible. The vast majority of these coins are worn, scratched, or damaged beyond collector interest. But this survivor stands nearly flawless. And in the numismatic world, condition is everything. Collectors crave this piece, not just because of its rarity, but because of its story. Owning it is like holding a physical reminder of America's resilience during its darkest hour. That emotional connection drives the demand and pushes the value into unbelievable territory. So here comes the moment you've been waiting for. How much is this 1942D Lincoln wheat penny in very clear condition worth today? Take a deep breath, because its current market value is standing at a staggering $155,000. That's right, $155,000 for a single copper coin struck at the height of World War II. A penny that was never supposed to be more than spare change is now a fortune that could change lives overnight. And let me tell you this isn't fantasy, it isn't exaggeration, this is the truth. Day by day, collectors push the market higher, and treasures like this are climbing in value. What you see today at $155,000 will only rise tomorrow. The demand is too high, the rarity too absolute, and the story too powerful for this coin to ever lose its shine. First, always check the mint mark. The difference between a plain 1942 penny and a Denver minted 1942D could mean tens of thousands of dollars. Second, condition cannot be overstated. Look for coins where the details are sharp, the color is even, and the luster hasn't faded. A very clear condition coin like this is where fortunes are made. And third, remember the era. Wartime coins carry a special aura of history. They remind us of resilience, sacrifice, and national strength, and collectors pay dearly to own that kind of legacy. And there you have it, the legendary 1942D Lincoln wheat penny in very clear condition. A coin born in a time of war, preserved in perfection, and today worth a staggering $155,000. It's not just copper, it's not just currency, it's a treasure, a time capsule, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest stories. But we're not done yet. The countdown continues, and the next coin might just blow your mind even more. Stay with me, because on True Coin Value, we uncover the truths that others overlook, and we bring you the treasures that can change your life forever. Trust me when I say, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Next up, and now, my friends, we step into the early years of the 1950s, a decade of prosperity, booming dreams, and endless possibilities. But hidden in those post-war days, while America was building highways, suburbs, and a brand new lifestyle, the Philadelphia Mint released a coin that would quietly survive, untouched, and eventually rise to unimaginable value. This is the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. A coin with a beauty so rare and a story so powerful that collectors today call it nothing short of a masterpiece. Let's rewind the clock to 1950. The war was over, soldiers had come home, and America was writing a new chapter of growth and success. But coins were still struck with the same seriousness and precision as they had been during the hardest times. The Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not carry a mint mark, struck millions of pennies this year. To most people, these were ordinary cents, destined for grocery stores, schoolyards, and the everyday pockets of American families. But among those countless coins, a few were destined for something greater, a future where their beauty, survival, and condition would turn them into treasures worth a fortune. What makes the 1950 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny so special? It comes down to its beautiful look and very nice condition. This coin isn't just preserved, it's glowing with history. Lincoln's profile shines with detail. The wheat stalks on the reverse remain crisp, and the coin carries a warm luster that collectors dream of finding. The absence of a mint mark tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but it's the sheer beauty and clarity of this coin that make it stand out. Coins from this period usually suffered heavy circulation, scratches, dirt, fading luster. But this survivor, it looks as though it's been waiting, untouched, for this very moment to reveal itself as a true treasure. And here's the breathtaking truth. While millions of these pennies were produced, finding one in such a beautiful condition is almost unheard of. Coins from 1950 were handled every single day by millions of Americans. They were pocket change in diners, gas stations, and corner stores. Almost all of them were lost to circulation, their beauty worn away by decades of use. That's why this coin is so rare. Collectors don't just see copper when they look at it. They see survival, history, and perfection against all odds. And that combination creates a tidal wave of demand. Auction after auction, when one of these beauties shows up, collectors fight fiercely to claim it. And every battle pushes the value higher. So here's the question you've been waiting to ask. How much can a past 1950 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in this stunning condition actually sell for today? Brace yourself, because the current market value of this coin stands tall at an unbelievable $140,500. Yes, $140,500. Think about that. A coin once worth a single cent, today rivaling the value of entire treasures. And this isn't fiction, this isn't exaggeration. This is happening right now in the auction world, and the price is climbing higher with every passing year. Owning this coin is like holding a key to wealth, history, and prestige, all in one small circle of copper. So what does this mean for collectors like you? First, never underestimate condition. A coin from a high mintage year can still become a fortune if preserved with beauty and clarity. Second, look for Philadelphia issues. No mint mark coins can sometimes be overlooked, but as this penny proves, they can hold staggering surprises. And third, always value the story. The era, the condition, the survival, all these add layers of demand that no collector can resist. When history meets perfection, prices explode. And there it is, the breathtaking 1950 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, in beautiful, very nice condition. A coin born in a time of prosperity, preserved against all odds, and today worth $140,500. It's not just a penny, it's a time capsule, a relic, and a treasure beyond measure. Next up, and now, treasure hunters, we journey into the heart of the late 1940s, a time when the world was finally stepping out of the shadow of war, and America was building a new future filled with hope, strength, and ambition. But hidden within those days of change, the Philadelphia Mint released a coin that would not only survive the passage of decades, but emerge today as a treasure worth more than gold. This is the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, a survivor with an unmistakable orange spot on the obverse side, preserved in very fine condition, and carrying a story so powerful that collectors fight fiercely just to glimpse one. The year was 1947. The war had ended just 2 years earlier. Soldiers were coming home, industries were booming, and America was shifting into an era of prosperity. The Philadelphia Mint, with its tradition of producing coins without a mint mark, struck millions of wheat pennies this year. To the everyday American family, these pennies were pocket change, spent in diners, tucked into piggy banks, and carried in overalls. But unknown to everyone at the time, some of these coins would survive the decades with a brilliance and uniqueness that no one could have imagined. And one of those survivors is the coin we're talking about right now. What makes this particular 1947 wheat penny stand out among millions? It's all in the details. First, its obverse side carries a rare orange spot. This natural toning, formed over decades, gives the coin a distinct signature, a kind of fingerprint that makes it absolutely unique. Collectors adore such marks because they prove authenticity and history, making the coin one of a kind. Second, its very fine condition is remarkable. Every detail of Lincoln's profile remains clear, the lettering stands sharp, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are still crisp enough to tell the story of their minting. It is not just an old coin, it's a piece of living history that refuses to fade away. Here's where rarity takes center stage. Though millions of 1947 pennies were minted, nearly all of them entered circulation and were used until worn smooth. The few that survived in very fine condition are rare enough. But when you add the unique orange-toned spot on the obverse side, you have a specimen that collectors cannot resist. Auction houses know this. Whenever a 1947 penny of this caliber appears, the room fills with excitement. Bids fly higher and higher, because every collector wants not just a piece of copper, but a piece of history, a coin with character, a coin that tells a story. That's what makes the demand unstoppable, and that's why this penny commands a value that shocks anyone who thinks of it as just a cent. So how much is this 1947 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, obverse orange spot, in very fine condition worth right now in today's auction markets? Prepare yourself, because its current market value is an astounding $130,300. Yes, $133,300 for a single penny. And let me be absolutely clear, this is no exaggeration, no myth. This is the truth of today's market. The value of this coin is increasing day after day, with collectors chasing it like a hidden treasure. Owning it is like having a fortune in the palm of your hand, a treasure chest disguised as copper. So what lessons can collectors take from this? First, look closer. Small details like toning, spots, or natural color variations can turn an ordinary coin into a unique treasure. Second, never underestimate Philadelphia coins without mint marks. They may seem common, but condition and rarity transform them into gems. Third, preservation matters. Coins that carry their details clearly after decades will always attract collectors, and values will always rise. This is a truth of numismatics that time only proves again and again. And there you have it, the magnificent 1947 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, with its distinctive orange spot and preserved in very fine condition. A coin born in post-war America, now worth an astonishing $133,300. It's not just a cent. It's a survivor, a treasure, and a symbol of how history can transform even the smallest things into priceless riches. But don't step away now, because the journey isn't over. Our countdown is nearing its climax, and the last coins on this list are the ones that will truly shock you beyond belief. This is True Coin Value, your faithful and daily source of truth, treasure, and rare discoveries that change lives. Stay tuned, because the final two coins will blow your mind. Next up, and here we are, treasure hunters, the moment you've been waiting for. After exploring 9 legendary coins, it's time to reveal the final gem in our lineup. A coin born in the shadow of war, a survivor of time, and today, a fortune hiding in plain sight. This is the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, a coin with rare red spots, preserved in very fine condition, and valued so high it could change your life in an instant. If you've stayed with me this far, prepare yourself, because this final treasure is the crown jewel of our journey. The year was 1945. The Second World War was coming to a close. Victory was on the horizon. Soldiers were returning home, cities were celebrating, and a new era of peace was about to dawn. In that very same year, the Philadelphia Mint struck millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, most of them destined for circulation to be spent in corner shops, train stations, and theaters across America. But hidden within that vast production, a handful of coins survived, carrying unique traits that would someday make them priceless. And among them, the coin you're about to hear about has risen above the rest. What makes this 1945 wheat penny stand out from millions of others? It's the striking red spots on its surface. These natural colorations, developed over decades of preservation, give the coin a fiery, one-of-a-kind beauty. No two coins age in exactly the same way, and that makes this piece instantly unique, a fingerprint of history pressed into copper. And then, it's very fine condition. Despite being nearly 80 years old, Lincoln's profile remains sharp. The wheat stalks on the reverse are clearly defined, and the lettering still sings with clarity. This is not just an old penny. It's a coin that has carried the story of a nation, survived intact, and now shines with the brilliance of rarity. While millions of pennies were struck in 1945, almost all of them entered circulation and lived hard lives of wear and tear. Finding one in very fine condition is rare enough. But finding one with such red spot toning makes it almost impossible. Collectors crave these survivors. They're not just buying copper, they're buying history, uniqueness, and beauty. Each coin with such traits tells its own story, and that drives collectors into a frenzy. At auctions, these coins never stay quiet. They spark bidding wars, with prices climbing higher and higher, proving once again that demand for true rarity never slows down. So what is the true value of this 1945 treasure? How much can one single penny with red spots and in very fine condition actually command in today's market? Hold your breath, because the current market value of this coin is an astonishing $135,700. That's right, $135,700 for a single penny struck in 1945. A coin that was once pocket change in wartime America is now a fortune that can only be called a treasure chest in disguise. And let me be clear, this is real, this is true, and the value continues to grow. Day after day, collectors push the price higher, making this coin not just a keepsake, but a legacy. So what wisdom can you take from this extraordinary finale? First, look for uniqueness. Spots, toning, and other natural marks can add beauty and individuality that collectors adore. Second, never underestimate Philadelphia no-mint mark coins. They often hide the biggest treasures in the numismatic world. Third, preserve what you find. A coin in very fine or higher condition can turn from a simple piece of copper into a six-figure fortune. Protect it, cherish it, and you may one day hold your own hidden treasure. And there it is, the breathtaking finale of our journey, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, glowing with red spots, preserved in very fine condition, and today worth over $135,000. What began as a humble 1-cent coin has become a symbol of resilience, history, and unimaginable value. Together, we've uncovered 10 of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln wheat pennies in today's auction market, each one a treasure, each one proof that the smallest things can carry the greatest worth. This is True Coin Value, your faithful and trustworthy source of daily updates on the rarest treasures in the coin collecting world. If you've enjoyed this journey, make sure you subscribe, because the next story might reveal the treasure hiding in your very own pocket. The hunt never ends, and the next discovery could change your life forever.